Bless you.
Thank you.
Ready, Madam Clerk? Is it time?
1 minute total. Now it's time. Okay.
I'll call this Wednesday, November 4th, special city council meeting to order, and we're going to get Councilmember Casagrande on the phone. While we're doing that, I might just go ahead and remind our old council members and tell our new council members that cell phones need to be off and put away. I know a lot of the time public tries to reach out to us during the meetings, but if you have a sound issue or if there's a question, direct it to
Welcome to the
administration or
GCI
the
Conference
clerk.
Center. Please.
Sorry, Madam Mayor.
That's okay.
Thank you. Please stand by. If you are the chairperson, press the star key now. Please enter your chairperson. You will now be placed into conference. There are 2 participants in the conference.
Hi, Councilmember Casagrande, we have you on the phone. Well, we'll check when we do the roll call. Vice Mayor Buckland, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Cease.
Here.
Casagrande.
Here.
Bachlan.
Present.
Demas.
Here.
McClure. Here. Osenga.
Here.
Mayor Terry.
Yes.
You have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is citizen comments on any subject except those items scheduled for public hearing, since we have no public hearing items. Do we have anyone signed in to speak?
We do. We have one that I will read and then one that we'll call.
Okay, thank you.
Dear City Council and Administration, GovHR USA, the company hired to provide City Council candidates, cost too much and delivered only 2 eligible candidates, Aaron Reinders and Scott Mazzaros. The other candidates were totally unsuitable. I was very disappointed with the selection and poor vetting. According to the Homer News, the Homer City Council recently went through a city manager search using the American Municipal League and other advertising. The applicant pool was very large, I believe 24 candidates. Council narrowed the list to 6 and offered telephonic interviews. Then Zoom interviews were conducted with council taking turns asking about a dozen questions. As I recall, the questions the Seward Council used last time were wordy and repetitive. It might be useful to ask the Homer Council for their list of questions and seek guidance from the Alaska Municipal League and other sources. A Google search also pulled up many links. It would also be useful to list what attributes council, administration, city employees, and the public are seeking in a city manager, and analyze what happened that resulted in firing Scott Mazzaros so that it's not repeated. It is imperative that the city figure out how to provide Zoom as a tool for this in every public meeting. We don't Zoom is not acceptable. I think the Seward City Council, administration, city employees, and the public can find good candidates without hiring a company if we are prepared and collaborate. Best, Carol Griswold's Inside City Limits.
Thank you. And the second is Linda Paquette.
Yeah, but we're not having her testify
Oh,
in person.
that's right.
Sorry. Yeah.
Hello?
Linda, hi, you're with council, and you have 3 minutes for citizen comments.
Hi, thank you so much. Mayor, council members, administration, members of the public, Linda Paquette, outside city limits. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this evening. I want to congratulate the new council members and also Mr. Bacwan for the appointment of vice mayor. You are well deserving of the honor. Also, thank you to the new council members for being prepared to get to work on their first night 2 weeks ago. I was disappointed to hear comments about how the work you did at the last meeting looked bad. I heard this from multiple people around town. Council is supposed to act as a body, as I understand it, so regardless of your personal opinions, once a vote has been made, it becomes the vote of the body. I think this is the way it's supposed to work. So I would just ask that for the sake of what's best for Seward, that you stand together. The only thing that looked bad was the bad mouthing of the decision after the meeting and the subsequent pot stirring. That didn't look good. But a new council being prepared to work and willing to make the long-needed changes, no, that didn't look bad until it became a gossip point on Facebook. You should have been proud. As a We Love Us community, we should be striving to work together even in the face of disagreement. Regarding filling the position of city manager, I hope you'll skip looking for an interim. Mr. Regis did a great job in spring of 2019 in that position, and if he's willing to serve until you can find the permanent one, that would be great. I hope that there's a possibility of both having GovHR firm recruit based on their contract and at the same time having the city recruit. The city had excellent results when they recruited for the interim city manager position in 2018, and GovHR had reasonably disappointing results for the permanent overall. But it is a part of that contract that you have. So if you're going to exercise it, I hope that you'll do them concurrently so that the timing works out. Somebody can be here before summer hits. Thank you again for your time and hard work and your consideration. Bye.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, and I'll just double check, so those were the only two comments?
Yes.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda and consent agenda. If I could get a motion in a second, please.
I move to approve the agenda and this consent agenda.
Second it.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk will look for a vote.
Approving the agenda and consent agenda. Osinga,
Yes.
Cease,
Yes.
Bacwan,
Yes.
Casagrande,
Yes.
DeMoss,
Yes.
McClure,
Yes.
Mayor Terry.
Yes.
The agenda and consent agenda have been approved, and there are no consent agenda items.
Great, thank you. Moving right along, next on the agenda is new business items. 6A1, discuss the recruitment of new permanent city manager. So since this is just a discussion item, we do not have to have a motion on the floor. We'll discuss it, and then we can make a motion when we've come to some conclusions. Is there anyone that would like to start off the discussion? Well, I might just put my toe in the pool and say, it would be my druthers to not have an interim. I do think that since we have an assistant city manager and Mr. Norm Regis is willing, at least at this time, to continue being active city manager, I think that or acting city manager, I think the timing's right with his workload. If it was summertime, the harbor, I believe, would be more demanding. Not that there aren't things he needs to do now. So I guess I would look around and see if there's any desire for us to look for another interim city manager besides what we have in place?
This is just assuming that Mr. Regis is willing to, and that he's agreed to already, right? But we should ask.
Yeah, so I'm willing to help out the city so we can move forward and find another city manager. So at this time, we move forward. I know I'm going to get busy. I'm not sure about when with the Coast Guard because the phone calls have started. It could maybe be in January, February, but hopefully we might have something by then.
Could we, so would you like us to have something like formal for our December meeting? You know, because I mean, we could also talk about who's taking the acting versus the helping, you know, versus the acting versus the assistant city manager. Or do you feel like you bring that back to us with the timing? What would be better?
I think like what we did last time, you know, just me be acting. Of course, we had Brennan last time, now we have Steven.
Okay.
And we're working great, and we're working through things. He's helping me get caught up on things, so I think that'll be fine.
Okay. And then at the next meeting, just so council knows, we do have a formal resolution, at least to confirm you being acting. Okay.
Madam Mayor?
Yes,
So the only
Councilmember.
question I have is this a monthly thing? Because I think that's what we did last time, was we,
I think we started 2 months, and then we went to
Right.
monthly after that because of the, sorry, Mayor.
No, that's perfect.
I think that's where we started out 2 months, and then we went month to month.
So we'll make it a little bit longer than at least a month to start. Is that acceptable?
yeah, I just wondered if that's what we were, if we're going for the same thing or how this is going to be formatted. So-
And we can, that resolution on Monday, we can look at those dates too if we want to change that. Okay. So next we need to talk about is recruitment of a new permanent city manager.
I'll start. We do have the guarantee from GovHR, and they did give us quite a number of applicants. We were the ones that chose it down, and, you know, if we got the wrong ones, it's probably our bad, but they do guarantee, and they did send in a thing that it would just be, travel costs or whatever. So I'll just start the discussion and suggest we go with GovHR again.
Councilmember?
Yeah, and with that, you know, I can understand that we can try to go out and recruit ourselves as a city, but I think GovHR has the infrastructure in place to do it. And of course, what Councilmember McClure brought up, which is the just for the cost of a couple things instead of full-on payment or cost. So I think it'd be a good idea.
And, you know, I'm going to take a break. Councilmember Casagrande, you'll have to forgive me that I didn't call out to you when we were talking about the acting city manager piece and the interim piece, but I'll turn to you now and just make sure you don't have any comments. I'm sorry about that.
I do not have any comments. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. So in the room, Councilmember, or excuse me, Vice Mayor.
I do think that we should go out with GovHR. I do also think that we should, in the context of even looking for a finance director, I think we need to be a little more innovative on how we're searching for candidates. Does that mean that we don't put them through the vetting process that GovHR does? I don't think so. I think maybe if we were to solicit interest for those positions as well, it might get us a broader net. I do remember in the I was not involved, but attending the meetings at that time, GovHR did say that they do not post on Indeed and other job websites. I can't remember the exact reason why it is now, but I think that we're at a point, and the economy and job searchers, we could probably be a little more innovative on looking for more solutions for solutions to our hiring needs. I think it's always a question on what are we posting, what jobs are posted where, and maybe having clear direction to administration on where we're posting jobs and how we're looking for jobs, or posting jobs and hiring people. We could could be a little more forward thinking. Not saying that it isn't the solution 100%, but it might be somewhere that we could spend a little bit more and get a little more of the job pool. Maybe there's somebody out there that is not in municipal service, but could correlate their experience to our city.
So, let me just summarize what I hear you saying is I'm looking around the room and I see general agreement that we should reach back out to GovHR and utilize the services because we do have that guarantee and the funds are a lot less than the contract. And then you are talking about a two-pronged approach with maybe having the city post other places also. I wonder if those posting other places could refer people to the GovHR. And then we would still be vetting through one site.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we could even reach out to AML, JIA, and at least let them know or put them on notice and then just refer people to GovHR. I would even like, since we're reaching out to GovHR again, is to ask if they have a service for recruiting finance directors.
I'll just step in there real quick. So there's, in your CMR for the November 9th meeting, under the personnel section, there's going to be a footnote where we did make some changes to the way that we're recruiting for the finance director position. We added a couple sites. SHRM is one of them. And then we did make some changes to the job description itself. We think maybe some of our requirements were not necessarily in line with what we actually need. So just to let council know that they're to be on the lookout for that on the next council meeting. With regard to Indeed, Monster, and some of those other for-profit sites, the biggest drawback there is most of them will charge you a fee, and I don't remember what the fee is, but it's per view. And so it's sometimes, they advertise it as free, but like with Indeed, for instance, it tends to get a little bit more pricey. There's some other services like LinkedIn and some of those other professional type, social media sites that we can make use of that we haven't thus far. So I had a meeting with personnel this week, and we're definitely going to be trying some things differently on the finance director piece. And I apologize if I took us down a rabbit hole with that, but just to...
That's good for contextual discussion, that's good.
Sorry, and I guess just to go back to the whole discussion, and I apologize if I'm speaking out of turn a little bit, but with regard to a permanent or an interim, I guess from administration's perspective, if this body has confidence in Norm and myself, we don't have any problem stepping up to the plate. And for myself, obviously that means a little bit more work, but I think for the continuity and for just the long-term visionary perspective, it's worth it to, from our perspective, from administration's perspective, to hold out for that right candidate. And that's going to mean more work and more on our plate, but it's the right thing to do from our perspective. So.
Great, thanks for confirming that. So, Madam Clerk, do you want a formal motion? Will GovHR need that? Do we need a formal motion to reach back out to them for their services and take advantage of their guarantee, while at the same time pursuing and looking into other options for advertising?
My understanding is all I need is in writing, an indication that you want to pursue or go back to them, so I'm happy to send them an email.
Okay. Does council feel like that's enough clarifying? Is there any other discussion at this time?
No, but I like what Tony and you discussed there, is maybe put it out ourselves too, and then have them go to them.
Councilmember Casagrande, I think you've been through at least one of these. Do you have any further comments?
I do not. I like the input that I think it was Vice Mayor Buckland mentioned and you reiterated of, really blasting with the recruitment of a finance director as well. And I appreciate assistant city managers, being diligent and willing to put in the extra work to hold out for the perfect candidate. So I was not on board when we used HR Gov, so that process is all new to me. so I'll leave it at that. We have some smoke detectors going on.
Be careful there. So that's how, Council,
I just have one additional suggestion as we proceed with this, that we re-look at the questions. They were
Yes,
not
I
good.
agree.
And what we'd done before, I believe, is the clerk had sent out a whole bunch of questions and asked us to edit and eliminate, and only a few people did, and so we ended up with that. But we've got to have concise, maybe just 10 questions, and they're
Yeah.
good ones, because what we really need to do is ferret out from the ones that we interview. I mean, we've got to do better at trying to find a good match for Seward.
Yeah,
And
the
we
questions
didn't
were
exactly
terrible.
find that from those questions, I
Yeah.
guess. So just a heads up that I want to kind of figure out how to do it better.
If council wishes, I can ask Homer for their questions.
That's a
and-
thought.
And then you can review them as well and see if you want to use them.
that's a great idea, thank you.
Madam Mayor, if I remember right also too, that we gave GovHR those questions, so they might still have those. So some of those we might want to reuse.
Yeah.
So put those with Homer so we can get those questions back.
Madam Mayor, can I just, the issue with us promoting or advertising the position and GovHR, if it's okay with the body, I'd like to ask GovHR if they'd be okay with that, or if there's a concern, because I don't want to interfere with their process.
Yeah, that's why I think if
I'll
there's and maybe suggest if we're advertising or asking, then we use their, direct people to them.
Yes, that would be great.
And before I get to you, Vice Mayor, I do want to say, since we're reaching out to GovHR, could you please ask them if they do recruitment for finance directors and what that cost would be?
You bet.
Thank you.
I'll also ask for a timeline for council to get an idea of what their process looks like.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
I was just going to say, you probably don't need to do that, Brenda, because personnel just did that 2 days ago with regard to the finance director.
To GovHR?
Correct.
Okay. And maybe we can, since we're using them for two things, maybe the pricing will be a little different.
Yeah, that was our inquiry, was what they charge for finance director recruitment, so.
And so the city still solicits the city manager position, right?
We can post it on our website?
Is that what happens? Or do we just totally rely on GovHR to post everything and it's not on our website? Like, I guess if somebody applied for the position and they sent an application to the city, is that sent to GovHR?
I mean, I guess that's what we're talking about here. We could defer them or collect them and send it to them. Just depends on how their process works.
Okay.
All of the hiring was handled by GovHR 2 years ago when we did this process. So they created the brochures and the advertisements, and they put it on all the websites that were appropriate for city manager hires. So we can put our own link on our website and do the same thing and direct them right over to GovHR. So that if anyone looks
So if they look for a
city's
job, it'll
website-
say the city manager position is posted, apply at GovHR.
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds good. Are there any further comments? And Madam Clerk, you have enough direction? I do. And so next on the agenda is citizen comments. Are there any further, did citizens want to have a reach out?
We do. We have one citizen, he wants to be called out, and that is Linda Paquette.
Hello?
Linda, hi, you're with City Council, and you have 5 minutes for citizen comments.
Okay, great, thank you. Mayor, council members, administration, members of the public, Linda Paquette, outside city limits. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you again this evening, and thank you for the work you did here this evening as well. Because of some of the rumors and conversations that have taken place since your last meeting, I wanted to remind everybody, especially the public, that all of the discussions at meetings regarding filling the permanent city manager position from 2019 can be viewed on Seward Civic Engagement on Facebook. And if you need help finding those recordings, let me know, and I'll help you. Having sat through all of those events, and with the hindsight of over a year of the city manager that was hired, I can summarize what's happened by saying that the city did not get what they were looking for, as stated to the firm in those meetings. Additionally, I just wanted to remind you and the public that within the first 90 days of the previous city manager being hired, there were multiple controversies and difficult situations that arose. There was a questionable and possibly illegal inquest into a councilperson's residence, an unwillingness to meet with residents and citizens, an apparent what can only be called lying dust-up, and a very telling conversation that I had with him personally. As a result of that conversation, some of you may recall, I suggested to council that since you were well within the first 90 days, and since your new hire had admitted that he regretted his decision and his own words, wished he'd never taken the job bride. If you go back to the initial meetings with GovHR and what was stated as the desired candidate's quality, it's that simple. It's not personal. Firing people is difficult. Firing people you know and like is even more difficult. And firing our friends is terrible. But we can't let our good feelings for our friends get in the way of what's best for Seward. And that's a chronic problem that Seward has. And Seward really needs to deal with it and overcome it. So let's accept the firing and be honest that it was difficult and painful, but long overdue. Thank you to the new council members who are ready and prepared to take the best steps for Seward moving forward. I know myself and many others are beyond relieved and look forward to an experience more along the lines of Jeff Bridges, who was a great person to work with and around. He may not have been perfect, but he was professional, authentic, honest, transparent, effective, productive. Perhaps the most important, he was willing to meet with everyone and open to listening and communicating. I have a renewed enthusiasm as one of your PACAP commissioners as well, and I very much look forward to Seward's future. I know many others who are excited as well. Thank you again for doing the hard work. It's greatly appreciated by the community as a whole and at large. And just so everyone knows, I will give the clerk laydowns of these two comments, so anybody that missed it or doesn't want to listen, they can read it later in the history. So thank you again. And then one last thought is in terms of notice. I don't know why this is, but when the clerk does her broadcast, she never broadcasts that I get anyway, openings, job postings. And I don't mean to suggest that she do it multiple times for the same position, but the very first time each job gets posted, if that went to the broad clerk's list as well, you might find, some further exposure that you're not getting. It's just a thought. Thank you again. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, has anyone else signed up to?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Next on the agenda is council and administration comments. Administration, do you have any comments? Thank you. Councilmember Casagrande, we'll start with you for council comments.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to, I guess if this is the point, I don't feel comfortable entering into executive session by phone, so I don't know if this is where I can ask. I should have asked in advance to be excused. And that's my only comment. Thanks.
I'll just address that right now. Thank you, Councilmember Casagrande. I think we need to, as a body, look at that or have the clerk-elect look at it. So I appreciate your willingness just to not attend tonight till we can come to some sort of final decision on that. So thank you for being willing to step out this evening. Councilmember Osenka? Councilmember Demas?
I just wanted to thank our new acting city manager and Stephen for stepping up to the plate and doing some extra work to get through this. And thank you for citizens' comments. That's it.
Thank you. Councilmember Cease?
No, I don't have much, and welcome back again to our Aaron.
Tried and true.
Sorry I had to move, Norm.
Councilmember McClure?
Oh, I'm just, I think we're in good hands with our acting interim, whatever Norm and Stephen are being right now, and I'm excited about the new possibilities. We're going to get a whole new batch of people to interview and see what's what. That's all I got.
Vice Mayor Buckle?
I'd like to thank the administration, especially Harbor Master Interim Manager Norm Regis, for his leadership. I know that through many conversations that I have in the public, people are more than enthusiastic and trustworthy of you to take the helm at this time. And they know that you are hardworking and will do everything that you need to do for the city, and we appreciate that. Assistant City Manager Sal, thank you so much for all the back and forth. There's a lot of questions this last week, and thank you for being very responsive. The community appreciates that through the questions that they ask me, and then I get to you, and it's very, I really appreciate the timely response on those things, and the community does as well. I know that we're moving into a very hard time in the nation, and I would just ask everyone to be kind to each other and just spread love and just be kind to each other. It is going to be a hard few months, and we just need to be kind. Thank you.
I also want to echo everyone's thanks to Acting City Manager and our Assistant City Manager. Just even this last couple weeks have been phenomenal with the response and the amount of work and the direction forward, so I want to thank you for that. And then also, I was hoping that as a council, we would send a card to the employees of Safeway, just our condolences on Kevin passing away. I know that the family's still making arrangements, but I feel like the employees of Safeway were his close family, and I know all of Seward's sad about that loss. So if we could just send a card from us to everyone there. Thank you. So since we've had council administration comments, we'll go into executive session. I'm going to make a motion to go into executive session regarding the Jesse Lee home per Seward City Code 210-010-B3, matters pertaining to threatened or pending litigation. Included in that executive session will be Norm, Stephen, Brooks, and Sam. And I think if you guys could get the attorney on the line.
Will do.
Okay. So I don't think we need a break. We'll just keep moving forward. So I'll get us into executive session.
I'll second it.
Oh, motion and second, sorry. Okay, let's take a vote on it.
Going into executive session.
Oh,
This is Councilmember Casagrande. Can I be excused from this?
yes, thank you.
And
We'll call you back for the work session.
She needs to call back.
Oh,
Great, thank you.
Sorry.